Let's talk about Wrangell Narrows here for a few minutes. We're actually heading south on Wrangell from Petersburg. We're actually going to Wrangell today. So I guess it was a couple weeks ago. We were heading north. So we left Ketchikan and our next stop was Petersburg. That's a long run. I want to say it's about 120 miles or so roughly. So what we did was I got a good weather window, so leaving Ketchikan, I literally had flat seas from Ketchikan all the way to the south entrance of Wrangell Narrows. And it's about 90, I think it's 95, call it 100 miles roughly, from Ketchikan to the south entrance of Wrangell Narrows. So I looked at the tide and the current for Wrangell Narrows, and I timed it so that we would get to the south entrance of Wrangell Narrows right at slack before flood, which the day we hit it was about 11:30 in the morning. So it was pretty good timing. We actually got there a little bit early, which was perfect because they stopped about 3 miles outside of the entrance to Wrangell Narrows in the south end, and we slowed down, did 6 knots and ate lunch because I knew once they got into the Narrows, you know, it was going to be a lot of red right return, watching the buoys and stuff to navigate through it, because it's not super narrow, but it is narrow, right? And there's, you know, you have other boat traffic and stuff, and there's some islands in the channels to watch out for. The buoys can sometimes be confusing, so I knew once I was in the Narrows I need to be able to pay attention, you know, of what's in front of me. And you know, there's also, you know, fishing gear in the water, the buoys, I don't know if it's crab or shrimp, whatever they're fishing for. And then there's boats on the side, you know, people are trolling for salmon and stuff, right? So we get to the south end entrance right at slack before flood. So that meant I got to ride the incoming tide. So that was actually pretty cool. We basically channel surfed, literally, the whole afternoon. It's about...
Let's go channel surfing!
Right. So we, it's about 20 miles long for the entire Wrangell Narrows. And as I'm cruising, I knew I was going to slow boat the whole thing. I mean, you know, I could have popped up on a plane and done it quick, but I was like, I wanted to see the sights and stuff, and Wrangell Narrows is very unique. So I just wanted to do 5, 6, 7 knots to the Narrows, and I was timing it to get into Petersburg. Now, Petersburg is interesting as well because it's right along Wrangell Narrows. It's at the north entrance of Wrangell Narrows, and Petersburg is known for having a large amount of current run through the marina. If you go ahead and look at you know, the notes that people have on the charts, you know, the active captain stuff, and even in avionics, you'll see plenty of notes of people saying, you know, it was a struggle, lots of boats, you know, struggling to get into the marina, you know, whatnot. So I paid a lot of attention to that. So I looked, there's 3 current stations right out in front of Petersburg, and I was looking at that, and the day we came in, the current actually peaked a little over 5 knots. And I was like, I do not want to hit the fuel dock and the marina with 5 knots of current. So I was timing it so that we would hit Petersburg close to slack, really what I wanted. So as we were heading north, I'm watching the Yamaha display, and I went from 2.1 miles per gallon, which is usually what I get when I'm slow boating. It's usually, you know, call it 7, 8 knots at about 3.7, 3.9 gallons per hour, which comes out to about a little over 2 miles per gallon. That's normally what I get under normal conditions. Well, then I saw 3 miles per gallon. Then I saw 4 miles per gallon. Then I saw 5 miles per gallon. And I was like, wow, I've never seen 5 miles per gallon on my boat before. Then it was 6. And I kept going, and then I saw 7. 7 miles per hour. I'm taking pictures of this because I'm like, nobody's going to believe me otherwise, right? It peaked at 8.4 miles per gallon. I have photographs to show this, right? So Lemon Drop hits me on the radio about that time, and she was actually at 10 miles per gallon. Her boat's a little lighter than ours, and her autopilot, she was doing heading hold, stopped working. It was getting a speed source there because there wasn't enough water flowing under the boat because the current was pushing us so far, right? So then I'm looking at the timing, and I'm like, we're going to land at this rate. It says we're going to land in Petersburg, like right at peak current at 5 knots. And it's like, this is all wrong, right? So I'm looking at the charts, and we had a couple miles further to go, and there was a spot on the side called Papkes Landing. And as the channel comes up and turns, Papkes Landing was off on the side, and it was marked as an anchorage. I looked at the notes on it, and it's like, yeah, it's a decent anchorage and all. So we pulled over there, hit the lemon drop on the radio, and said, hey, we're going to pull over an anchor. And she's like, why? And I said, you want to dock in 5 knots of current, Petersburg? She goes, you know I don't. So I had to laugh over that. So we pull into Papkes Landing. Well, it was like 40 foot of water. We dropped the anchor, and we just waited like 2.5 hours. I was just watching the current for when it was going to slow down. And then I timed it because I still had 8 miles to go. So I was looking at how long it would take us to pull the anchor and then get the last 8 miles in Petersburg. And slack was like right at 6. So I called I had cell service through my Peplink router. So I called the fuel dock and find out when they closed. So I really wanted to get fuel first and then hit the marina. We always like doing that when we travel. It's best to stop at the end of the day with a full tank, so if you need to leave early in the morning, you can do so before the fuel dock opens. And the fuel dock closed at 6. So I timed us getting to the fuel dock at 5:30. And we were right on time. We ended up with like a little over between 1 and 2 knots of current when we hit the fuel dock. Got our slip assignments from the Petersburg Harbor Master and pulled right into our slips at right at slack current, really, in Petersburg. We had the north docks. Really nice docks up there in Petersburg. So easy docking, easy day of travel and stuff, but definitely got to pay attention to the current stuff as it runs through Wrangell Narrows. I was told that the Southeast Alaska ferry system actually sets their schedule for all throughout Southeast Alaska around Wrangell Narrows, around the tides and the currents that go through Wrangell Narrows. That's how big of an impact it has in this area. You know, Petersburg is actually really nice. So pulling into Petersburg, the Harbor Master is manned 24/7. You can hit him on the radio 24/7, 7 days a week. There's somebody in the office that will actively answer the radio, give you slip assignments, talk to you, whatever. They have, as it was explained to me, they've got $1 million plus operation of fishing vessels out of Petersburg, and it's in everybody's best interest. It's worth it to them to have that harbor master there manned 24/7. So that made it really convenient. So you just hit them on the radio, gives you your slip assignment, and you're hot slipping when they know when the fishing boats are out, how long they're going to be gone, and they give you one of those.
They have
slips.
a whole chart on the wall.
Yeah. So really nice. One of our favorite marinas actually is in Petersburg to pull into. It's so easy to talk to those guys and work with them, and they're so knowledgeable and stuff. But so you get our slip, and then you just go in and you just register, but you don't pay, and you tell them how many days you think you're going to be there. But if you're going to be longer, they don't care. They run it like a bar tab. Just the day before, the night, the evening.
Sounds funny.
Yeah, the evening before you're going to leave, you just go up there and say, "Hey, I want to settle up my bill," and then give them the money for it. And moorage runs with power about $31 a night for a 32-foot boat. So pretty affordable. Certainly less expensive than I pay down in the San Juan and Puget Sound area. Really nice docks. They look new, although I think they're about 10 years old. But they've got all GFCI protected electrical breakers and 30 amp power. And yeah, so today we're actually, we're now heading south on Wrangell Narrows. We left Petersburg, and we're going to pop out the bottom end of Wrangell Narrows, and then we're actually going to go to Wrangell, which is about 20 miles outside the entrance. We have not been to Wrangell yet. So that should be interesting. And one of the things is if you time Wrangell Narrows correctly, you can actually ride the tide both ways. So you can ride the tide and let it push you in, and then at the halfway point, the tide will turn, and then it'll take you back out again. You save a lot of fuel. That day we're coming north, I bet you I did all of Wrangell Narrows. I bet you I did it on less than 3 gallons of gas. So I wouldn't be surprised it was so low on fuel that day. The turning point, the measuring point to look at, if you look on your charts, look for Papkes Landing and for Mountain Point. And it's right up in there is about where the current will change and go the opposite direction. And basically it's a narrow choke point, and then when it comes out on the north side of the Mountain Point, it's where it gets wider, and that's when the current drops. So if you want to do your timing from the south end, you're basically looking at from the south end up to near Papkes Landing, a little bit further north, and then, like I said, once you hit Mountain Point, the current will end up going the other direction. You know, that's the turning point when you get there right when the tide changes, so you can ride the tide both ways. But other than that, we've had pretty good weather. Cloudy, overcast seems to be the norm.
We've had downpour. What do you mean pretty good weather?
Well, it's on traveling days.
Oh, yeah.
At the dock, we've had torrential downpour. The last 2 days in Petersburg have been. We had one sunny day and we had 2 rainy days. One was just rainy, and then
Monday was nice.
The other day, yesterday, it was just a torrential downpour.
Tuesday was yesterday, Thursday.
Like the ocean came and fell from the sky. So, but highly recommend Petersburg. They've got a grocery store there. They've got a decent laundromat there. There's a bar there.
Coastal, the fish place.
Yeah, Coastal Seafoods. I have really good seafood stuff there. I bought some king crab legs there. I splurged on that. Oh my god, they were so good. Best I've had in a long, long time. They actually had spot prawns. So since I missed shrimp season in San Juan this year because I came up here, I bought myself a couple bags of spot prawns.
4 pounds of prawns we went through already. We
Yeah.
don't have any left.
And they had halibut and stuff there. And you can either buy just a fish and then cook it on your boat. We did some of that, and then also they serve food up there too. Fish and chips and stuff like that.
Salmon burger. Salmon burger is the best.
Yeah. So, and it's a short walk from the docks. You want to stay at the north dock for a smaller boat, where you'd really rather be. And also talking with the locals there, the north dock has less current that passes through it than the middle and the south dock does. In fact, he was telling me on the south dock, there's times when the current's running, you can't get your boat out. You have to wait for the current to slow down. The north dock, he says, there's a it doesn't run as quick through there. But the fuel dock's pretty much exposed to whatever the current is running through the narrows.
And the north dock is where most of the stuff is. There's really not a lot down at South Dock, and I know that because Jan and I walked down there. A couple little shops. Most of it's all mechanic stuff. That's about it down there. No store.
All right, back to navigating.